podcast. It's your girl Uju.
And it's your girl Pam. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
We already had this conversation now.
But you were encouraging me now.
Actually, go on.
You see this girl is wicked.
I forgot.
After giving me ginger.
No. I take it back. I told you, I said sing. You don't need voice to blow. You can sing. Don't worry. I'll get you. I'll get you a voice coach.
It's okay. In this life, know your friends.
But just stick to your day job.
I should stick to my day job.
For now.
Can you see? You encourage me.
For now.
Behind the scenes, they're giving me ginger.
I'm your backup singer now. No, keep going. Sing. I'll give you backup.
It's all right. When I blow.
Soprano or alto, which one?
When I blow with this singing.
Soprano or alto. Uju, I don't think so.
You just told me I don't need talent. Keep it consistent, this girl.
I don't know. I feel that's the truth. I'll let you know.
Wow.
If you work on it on the next episode, I'll give you constructive feedback. Critical reflection.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, for now, I will stick with podcasting and talking, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's
You're really
fine.
good at that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. You're not serious, honestly. See what I have to contend with.
I love you, though.
I love you right back. So how are you, though? What's up?
I'm okay. I'm sure everybody's tired of me saying, this week I'm tired. No.
Well, life is lifing.
Life is always going to be, do you know that's the truth, is life is always going to be lifing. And I think what I'm learning to do is I need to just sometimes, if I can't do something, I can't kill myself.
Absolutely.
I always have this can't do attitude, you want
to do everything. Yeah.
And that really wears me out, whereby I miss out on actually the simple things that can get me from point A to point B. I miss out on those things because I'm trying so hard to. But yeah, I'm learning. It's not easy, but yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so I think that leads me very nicely.
Oh, but what about you?
How am I?
You asked me the question.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm chilling.
You're chilling.
Yeah.
You're a soft girl anyway.
I'm chilling.
You're a soft girl.
Because I can't come and die. That's exactly why.
It's true.
I think I'm in that season of, to be honest, everything is going really busy right now. But I'm having to remind myself that, honestly, you can't come and die.
It's the right attitude to have. But you can't have too much of that at the same time, though.
No, you do what you need to do. Do you get what I mean? But I think to the point you just made, you have to accept things you can't really do and cut yourself some slack. I know we say it a lot. We say it a lot that we need to learn to cut ourselves some slack. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Because when you reflect and think of the things that are still undone, it's easy to dwell on that.
Yeah.
As opposed to what have I actually achieved. And to be honest, there are some weeks that you're so busy, especially at work, and you still can't put your finger on what I closed. What did I achieve?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Interesting. I was talking to a colleague recently about that, where we're both in the office and she just walked up to me. She's like, I've been in the office the whole day today and I actually do not feel like I've achieved anything.
Yeah.
I just feel like I've just been in and that's it. And I just said to her that actually, if you think about it, the fact that you came into work today is an achievement in itself. The fact that you might have had conversations with people that ordinarily working from home you wouldn't have. And some of those conversations has probably sparked something in you that would help you to make the next decision for the next report you need to write, for example.
Absolutely.
And when we thought about it in that way, she's like, oh, actually, that makes sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it can feel very overwhelming, when you go through that, where you can't, if you're someone who is particularly result-oriented as well, where there is nothing that was concluded.
Yeah.
You did a lot of work, but nothing, concluded. You kind of get to the end of the week and feel, I've had a very bad week. But actually, no, you've moved a lot of things forward. It's just haven't concluded it. But yeah, it can be difficult. But yeah, so I'm chilling right now.
Good to know.
Yeah, I'm chilling, working on my singing.
Jesus Christ, guys.
What are you whispering?
I didn't say anything.
Rubbish.
I didn't say anything. I have Beyonce on speed dial. I'll get in touch.
Don't worry. Don't worry. In this life or the next. Right. So in usual RC pod fashion, we start with a bit of an icebreaker or a reflection card, that kind of thing. So my question for you today is, how do you stay passionate about life?
These are some of the, should I say, cliche questions, but sometimes you have to dig deep to answer it. So for me, there are many times where I know that I'm sort of losing myself. Because like we said, life is lifing.
Yeah.
But I think what I've learned to do in the last, should I say, few years is I'm discovering who I am or who I want to be. This new Pam, because I think for every phase in life, you can't remain in, how you were in your 30s or 20s. As you get older, not giving that away, but you have to rediscover yourself. You have to rediscover who you are or who you want to be or what you hope to achieve. So I think for me, my passion right now is finding myself again. And so it's doing those things that's helping me on that journey.
Absolutely.
So I would those are the things, and that includes things like taking myself out. Yeah. Doing things. I'm not someone who thinks for myself, sorry, that sounds bad. I'm not somebody who likes to do things for myself. I don't like to do nice things for myself.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Do you understand?
I don't prioritize yourself all the time.
I always like to see other people happy. So as long as somebody else is happy, because I've done something that fulfills me. But I'm learning actually that I need to be part of that too. So now learning to do that and actually prioritize that, and that it's not selfish. It's not selfish to say no or to put myself first.
Absolutely.
I've had that might be sometimes, but I need to learn to do it. So learn is still a learning journey. I'm not saying I'm there, because sometimes you're almost fighting your
instincts,
natural instinct. But yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that actually, because I was thinking about it the other day. I'm very bad at celebrating myself. Like I can go to the end of the earth to celebrate somebody else, to make sure your moment is special and all of that. But when it comes to myself, I'm like, it's not necessary now. I don't need to. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I always admire people that, they don't mess about. They honor themselves. They celebrate themselves. And it's a trait that I really admire in people, honestly, because it doesn't come naturally for me.
Yeah.
For me, staying passionate about life is, what I'm really trying to adopt now is gratitude. Because when you get overwhelmed, it's very easy to only see the negatives, and it's like, what's the point of it all anyway? Why bother?
Yeah.
So you get what I mean? So it's trying to stay, hold on to gratitude as much as I can, because that's the thing that, gives the positivity and gives the passion to go, all right, we can do this.
Yes. 100%. I can totally relate to that, because like you were saying, it's sometimes life just throws things at you, sometimes in the most unexpected way. But how in the moment you can take stock and just be thankful.
Absolutely.
And for me, actually, one of the things thinking about it now is I'm on this journey. When I say I'm rediscovering myself, that also means rediscovering myself in terms of who I am as a child of God, who I am in Christ.
Absolutely.
Which is, I would say, something I haven't prioritized in a really long time. So that is now part of my me journey. And it's making me feel excited again because it's a part of me that I would say for a really long time. I mean, yeah, I go to church, I do this, I do that, but stepping outside of all of those norms, who am I as a child of God? Who am I in Christ? Like, who am I? Who is Pam? You know. So yeah. And that's where the gratitude for me comes in.
And I think that's the ultimate self reflection, which we all aspire to, is to see ourselves the way God sees us.
Yeah.
Because once you get to that level of self awareness or self-reflection, I think it's easier then to figure out what matters and what doesn't. You know, and that's where we're all aspiring to get to.
Yeah.
Right. So for today's topic, then, it's it's quite a deep one. Yeah. And the thing that triggered this topic was in 2024. The except you've been living under a rock, you will have seen this story of a lady in France, Gisele Pelicot, I think that's how her name is pronounced, whose husband drugged and raped her repeatedly, and then even worse, got men, strangers, to come and, you know, sleep with his wife. It's such a morbid story. Like, it's just, you can't even imagine what would make a person do that. And the worst part of it is even how he even got caught. He got caught for this. That's the time they say your cup is full, because he got caught for something so silly. Yeah, what they call it underskirting. That's taking pictures of women's underwear in public spaces. You know, so you try and put I don't know whether it's phone or whatever, to try and get a pic of a ladies underwear. And he was doing that in the local supermarket, so that he got caught for that, got arrested for that. And then they took his computer
and found.
And then that's when they found the images or the recordings of what he'd been doing. And that's when the woman found out who she'd been married to. And this went on for, I think, 11 years or something like that.
Wow.
And she was so brave to actually, I'm not sure I would have had the liver to do that, to waive anonymity and for the world to see me, you know. And it's just, it was such a brave thing for her to do. Oh. It was such a brave thing for her to do, to be the voice for people who have no voice going through sexual assault. So today we're going to really be talking about sexual assault and the societal attitudes towards it, both here in the UK where we live, or in the West generally, and in Nigeria where we come from, or in Africa quite generally, and how that's changed over time.
Or has it?
Yeah, it's a valid question. Has it? And it's true. So even for the West, this case was very profound. You know, that something like this can happen.
It's like you can almost call it one of those landmark cases.
Absolutely.
You know, one that will be used as reference for many, many, many cases to come, I think. And I think, just to your point about waiving anonymity, sorry, words are eluding me today. When I think she was asked why she did that, because there's always a perception for women who are, you know, who goes through sexual assault, who there's a shame that comes with it. There's a way that you are almost seen as the person that needs to hide, because this terrible thing has been done to you. So therefore, for her to do that, it was almost taking power back from the person that had done this to her, and say, actually, you did this to me, but I need to show the world that I'm not this timid. You know, I need to be able to name this thing as a thing of bravery, as a thing of, yes, it was a disgusting, horrible thing that happened to me, but I want people to see who it was done to, and that she's not this timid person. And I really found that to be very, very profound.
Absolutely. So she's, you know, she reclaimed the narrative.
Absolutely.
And stepped out of the victim mentality
Mindset.
or the victim, and absolutely this was done to her. There is no reason why it should have happened to her. She had no fault in this. And a lot of women who go through sexual assault are the same, in the sense that it should never have happened to them. They have no part in what happened to them. It is somebody is a sick human being who has sexually assaulted you.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, society makes them feel that, what did you do? You were dressed provocatively. Why were you out at 10 p.m.? Why were you in a dark place? Why? Do you get what I'm saying? That what did you do to cause this thing to happen to you? Actually, no, I didn't do anything. I was just living my life.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of, I was listening to, I love Trevor Noah. I love his podcast, What Now? I'm a huge fan. Trevor, if you ever see this, I hope you do. I love you.
It's an incredible podcast, actually. And I think just to digress a little bit, I think what I like the podcast a lot, it's kind of because is him and what's that her name again?
Christine,
who is a Nigerian.
Yeah,
so there's a very African familiarity to the podcast where you can and they make reference to their heritage a lot. So it kind of
very proudly.
Yeah.
Very proudly. I love it. Especially Christine. I don't even know. I need to go and
she's a comedian apparently.
I honestly
that's the first time I saw her actually on the podcast. She's also a comedian, but I absolutely love them.
Yeah. So Chimamanda was on recently and she was I think she's promoting her new book. But to the point about victims and societal responses to victims of sexual assault. So there was this case that she was referencing. I think it informed one of the characters in the book. I think I really need to read it, but she was saying that she felt the responsibility to almost humanize that victim because of what had happened. So I think a few years ago there was a French politician who was campaigning to become president, and he allegedly raped this maid in a hotel.
Wow.
And I say allegedly because the case was eventually dropped.
Okay.
But what she said that really hits me deep was the reason that the case was dropped or the investigation sort of stalled was because they found a way to make the victim become. They moved the narrative of what this man had done to her allegedly to the fact that because she was a migrant who they said she had lied on her asylum claim.
Right.
So the focus shifted from what this person had supposedly done to whatever. So it's almost like what I found that she said that was interesting was the fact she said that as victims of sexual assault, there's this, especially from men to women, there's this desperation for there to be a reason. Like you're expected to be almost perfect to get justice. So you're blameless. You don't have any. And that's impossible. As human beings, we're flawed. I mean, day to day, you're constantly battling good decisions, bad decisions. So. But what on earth has her asylum claim got to do with the fact that she was supposedly raped? And for her to have actually cried out about it, for this thing to become a case in itself, I can imagine the strength it would have taken, because this is a powerful man.
And the fact that it even got some degree of...
I think he was actually arrested. I mean, the matter went to court.
So that in itself, for me, is a little bit promising in the sense that somebody at least took her claim seriously enough.
And not somebody of power.
That's what I mean. Clear. That somebody took the police or whoever it is, I don't know who exactly took her seriously enough to actually make it a thing. Now, unfortunately, it didn't end... it ended in a, I don't know, should I call it in a bad way for her, where the spotlight was now turned to her. But at least it's a step forward, because historically, and looking at the African context, a maid, nobody's going to listen to you.
Again, contrast. So there's this trend now with this senator in Nigeria, female senator,
Yep.
who has accused another senator of, I think if I'm not mistaken, a Senate president or something.
Yeah, of sexual harassment.
So let's be clear, it's just sexual harassment. But the fact that and this is someone of privilege herself, somehow the focus was shifted on the fact that she was harassed sexually to the fact that she's promiscuous, the fact that she's been married 3 times. What does that got to do with what she has? And to point out that she has been suspended.
Now this is not to say that it happened or it didn't happen, but it's the attitude.
That's not the point. Discussion.
Do you understand? The discussion is not, let us investigate to know if this actually happened. It's we have to discredit this woman. Now, we're not saying the man necessarily did that. We don't know the facts of the case. But it's just that mindset that, as you were saying, that you have to be perfect. And I think that's probably one of the things that made this Gisele's case as because she is that, for want of a better term, perfect victim. And it shows that you don't have to do anything. That you get what I'm saying? This is her husband.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything wrong. And it just goes to highlight that you do not attract sexual harassment or sexual abuse because necessarily from your own actions.
Yeah.
This is the person that is supposed to be the most trusted person.
It's her home. It's her safe space.
He was doing it on their matrimonial bed. And the worst part is he managed to get people in their local community. That even just goes to show or speaks to the mindset of the men.
Of course. Because
it blows my mind that somebody would tell you, come and sleep with this woman who is unconscious and you two will go. How did he manage to get that many men?
Yeah.
And it's men that live in the local pharmacist, the local butcher.
Yeah, of course.
Are you thinking?
Yeah. Like you say, there's this level of, should I say, audacity.
Man.
That promotes that mindset that it's okay to do this. Because it's her husband. What better person to ask me to do this? It's the person who is her husband that's telling me to do it. So it makes it okay.
The authority.
I think one of them even said that they thought he told them that she was in on it.
Okay. So it's their own kinkiness in their home. I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well.
But you never bother to ask her. So, but every time you land,
she's unconscious.
So
I know that's part of the plan now.
It's part of the excitement. I see. Interesting.
Whilst inexcusable, I can probably see how some people will have fallen for that because people do weird things by consent, in fairness.
I don't agree, but okay.
No, I can see. I'm not saying it's not right. Don't get me wrong, but I can see how somebody could be taken in with that explanation.
But it's the mind. The mind believes what it wants to believe. I
suppose so.
To make it okay that this nonsense you're about to do. It's like how it's like how somebody who has should I say diabetes, you have diabetic, but ice cream is nice.
It's very nice.
So you go and get yourself a tub of ice cream
and make an excuse around it. But in fairness, people do a lot of weird things. Yeah. But to your point, I think is the fact that she's unconscious is the thing that should make you as a person, your alarm bells to ring.
At least question it.
That's why does she have to be unconscious?
Whatever people choose to do behind closed doors, as long as you're consenting adult, it's not my business. But you're only having one person's side of the story. And you're not getting the other. Every time you land, she's sleeping.
That's why all of them got they got prison sentence now because that excuse cannot fly in the court of law.
And I think it was so bad. 11 years,
50 men. He was on trial with 50 men. Let that sink in. 50.
Shocking. And I think more than anything, what this sort of, when we were talking about it, is the societal responses.
Absolutely.
Is it different here in the West in comparison to Nigeria?
I would say it is, in the sense that certainly for now anyway, we don't have in the West as much pull to hide things. You know, in Nigeria is more the first thing that comes, depending on who is doing the assaulting, is because you find people that even in their home, you know, an uncle will come and do it. They are more concerned about family name.
Of course.
You see what I mean? So we have more of that. And then the power dynamic as well in Nigeria is bigger than it is here, in the sense that you have more people. Like here, I can walk into the police station and say my employer did something to me and they will take it up. In Nigeria, a housemaid, a driver, somebody of, you know, that is doing a menial job, you have no, very limited voice.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike here, that's one of the you know, the big differences. Not to say that things don't get covered up here, don't get me wrong. They do, because powerful people get away with a lot of things everywhere. So, but in Nigeria, I think or in Africa in general, I think it is harder to have a voice.
Yeah.
When you don't have the means.
Yeah. And I think here as well, one of the things I would say is when it eventually gets that traction, you know, and I think we're talking about this earlier, the power of social media now. You know, there are certain things that are maybe 20 years ago that we would never know about, because whatever is reported on the news, that's it, you know. But now, and I'm talking the differences in terms of responses here and in the West. So now there's this justice in the social media space that even if it doesn't go through the criminal courts, or, you know, it doesn't go through that whole process, that due process of, you know, somebody going to court. And there's a thing that social media does now that I find really powerful. And I think that some of these powerful names now that have eventually been prosecuted, gone to prison, I think social media had some level of influence in making that happen. But I think the difference between here and in Nigeria is, although those things, social media does play that role, but it's noise. It's just noise. Whilst here, as long as you just need one newspaper.
Once the right person, you should make your noise loud enough. Once the right person carries it up, it then becomes impossible to ignore.
It.
Now, they may not handle the case properly, as with the case of this migrant woman but they have to take it up.
Of course.
They have to take it up.
Yeah. And I think, again, another difference for me between here in the West is that there are structures and systems that are in place that support women to be able, or victims generally, to be able to even feel able to report and feel confident that somebody would listen to me, right? So there are organizations that will take it upon themselves, get you legal counsel, even within the police, when you go and report something. And even we talked about this with domestic abuse as well. You know, there are systems that are in place that, at least to some extent, you would feel like somebody will listen and try and do something about it. Whereas in Nigeria, we don't have that.
No.
And that is why a lot of sexual abuse cases don't get far enough. Don't even get far at all. Because you're already fighting an uphill battle. Who would you report to? Because like you were saying earlier, can you imagine walking to a police station in Nigeria and saying, I've been raped by my employer? So what thing you do? I should say you did tie wrapper. You did tie wrapper, be where you did sweep. You know. And
it's absolutely crazy. Obviously, the Western world obviously is a bit of a journey, because, you know, we had the whole Me Too movement and stuff like that, where these things were, you know, sexual harassment, maybe not necessarily full sexual assault, but at least sexual harassment was kind of acceptable.
Yeah. It was a culture.
It's a culture, you know. It was okay to pass a certain comment. And then obviously there are people who took it all the way. But so here they are learning. And as you say, they've now put systems in place that I cannot report. If it comes out that I reported and no one did anything about it, it's a bigger problem.
Yeah. And it's even what it's interesting, what it's now doing is that it's putting people in check. You can't walk up to me and try and, brace yourself around me. And before that was normal behavior.
Absolutely.
Or you make inappropriate jokes. So meet me in my hotel room. Let me show you how it's done. Things like that. And those were things that would be said openly in team meetings or office spaces where men could say whatever and get away with it. But now it's checking people. You check yourself before you open your mouth and say nonsense. Because you don't know how far that's going to take you.
Where your own will be, where your own case will go. But so I'll ask the question though, but why do you think, what are the dynamics with African society that makes it so hard for people to take sexual assault seriously?
I think personally, I think that it is to do with the way that the systems that the society is set up. Certain behaviors are okay. Certain behaviors are almost acceptable. It's not that bad. Why are you making noise? For example, if there's almost this notion about a husband, why would you say your husband raped you? There's still that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You're married to this man. So how can you say your husband raped you? Do you understand? So it is acceptable. Those behaviors it's not checked. There's no check in place. There's no consequence. Let's put it, I think that's what I'm looking for. There's no consequence for these things because we live in a patriarchal setup, where men are almost idolized. They hold that power and privilege. So how dare you report this? Even within the home, let's not even go that you're even going to report it safe to anybody. A child gets raped or is sexually abused. The family will do everything to cover it up because they are more concerned about the shame that news will bring to the family rather than protecting that child, helping that child feel heard, feel seen, feel loved.
I think as well, it's not even so much just the family, but the stigma that will follow that girl. Because even if the family support her and do everything, to make her feel loved and all of that, when she wants to marry, somebody will go and pull out that story and say, you can't marry this girl. She was raped. So there's the stigma that goes with sexual assault is why a lot of people, I think, still hide stuff like that because they don't forget.
And it's almost like, do you need to be, do people need to understand the meaning of what rape is? Because rape is not giving consent for something to happen to somebody. I haven't given consent to this act that has been done to me, but somehow it's my fault.
Yeah, because you must have done something to trigger the person to do it.
So yeah, that's usually the first question. What were you wearing? How were you behaving? Were you flirting? You must have invited it. It's your fault.
So honestly, I think education as well is also a big part of it. Because when I say education, and I think particularly I'll bring it to parents as well. For parents of boys, I think it's something that you need to really, really hone in that no means no. Regardless of how she has led you on, no means no. Because a lot of young boys, I say that because a lot of young boys have found themselves in hot water.
Yeah, sorry. I just remember that when you said no means no. I remember one of Bobby's jokes that went viral. It was like, I think when I can't remember precisely how the joke went, but something to do with when they were in the act, that the babe would say no, and then he would stop. You need to ask her.
I have to check. Continue? We have to check because if she turns around and says, I didn't say, but at least certainly for here, so what she did, I think so. We have the education here now that regardless of what she did, if she opened her mouth and says no, or she does not expressly consent, it's no.
Yeah.
And
apart from that, so education is absolutely key. Work that needs to be done from home is important, but more widely and more importantly, there has to be consequence. There has to be consequence, because if people are even doing all of these things, and I mean, why do people behave in a way that when there's no consequence, let's even go with even how you are with your children. If you don't have boundaries, you don't have discipline at home. Just imagine what
chaos.
we run. Exactly. And they will push those boundaries, because if they know they push it far enough, what's the worst mom is going to do or daddy is going to do?
Fair.
So if I can rape someone and get away with it, I'm going to do it, because there's nothing that actually stops me from doing it. What is the consequence?
Plus, I think another thing that also adds to it, I think, is this whole, and I think we have it a lot in Africa. It happens here. This belief that if you've thrown money at somebody, you have a right to take anything from them.
Yeah.
So if you've bought this for the girl, you've splashed out, you spent all this money, she has no right to tell you no. So if she doesn't give it to you easily or willingly, you take it by force.
Yeah.
After all, you spent my money.
Yeah. Yeah. You hear that a lot. So I think so. There's also this, I think particularly, I've not really heard that here, but particularly in Nigeria, a lot of guys who have raped babes or sexually assaulted a babe will say things like you were saying, well, I don't buy an iPhone, I don't think I'll go this restaurant, I've done this, I've done that, and then she now came to my house. What did she think was going to happen?
Yeah. I invited her to my house in the night.
Yeah.
And she showed up.
She came with overnight bag. What was she expecting?
But seriously, some girls do. Why?
I just want to get to know you better. I want to get to know you better.
We need to protect ourselves from these things, though.
I mean, on balance, I see that, but it still does. It's not an excuse.
It's not an excuse. It's not a reason to take it forcefully. But I'm saying that as women, though, we need to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's different where, as you say, you get people where you hear that the person was walking, somebody did whatever, you know. But where you throw caution to the wind and just put yourself in some certain situations, we need to be a bit wiser.
Oh yeah.
We need to, put safeguards. I remember when we used to go out clubbing back in the day, we don't go out alone. You move in packs. You get what I'm saying? Because you have to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to safeguard yourself. We want to go out to have a good time.
Yeah. And it's just, the reality is the world is just not it's not a safe place for women.
It's not.
It's really not. That's just the truth. And yes, I know that I can't wait for us to have our first male guest on the podcast. But speaking from a woman's perspective, it's scary. It's scary when you look at the statistics of sexual assault on women and girls, and you have girl children. My children always say, Mommy, you are the helicopter parents. I said, it's okay. I don't care what you call me.
We have to hover.
It's okay.
We have to hover.
It's okay, because I know that, yes, there needs to be balance. There's only so much as a parent that you can do. But some of the life things, that stories we've heard of, things that we didn't know had happened to some of our peers. Now as adults, people are now able to share those things. And these are things that could have been easily avoided. But our parents were so trusting the wrong people.
And it's true, because a lot of sexual assault actually does happen in the home.
Oh, yeah. In fact, a huge percentage of girls that have been raped, or women who have been raped by people that have been known to them, not strangers.
So I'll ask this question, because we very often, when we think of sexual assault, we only think about it from women.
Mm-hmm.
But men do actually go through sexual assault themselves. When I say in the home, particularly young boys.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking of, and when you say sexual assault for boys, we often only also think about men assaulting men.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
See what you mean.
You see what I mean? So we and that happens quite a lot actually. You see a lot of particularly here where it comes out a lot is particularly in church and all those there are things where they say, oh, the priest did strange things to them.
Prolific old men.
But it's never really spoken about where women take advantage of small boys.
So growing up, I don't know if you heard a lot of the stories of how many boys lost their virginity. It's because of the house help that was in the house.
Yeah. And it's not them coming onto the house help.
No. So it's a house help. And they found, that's the joke of it. The response is always different. I think for boys, they used to like it. For them, it was an exciting thing. So they say, Auntie Kinikon to me, bring their own friends to the house. Do you understand? But of course, now growing up and being a bit wiser, you realize that
is sexual assault.
Okay.
But again, I think that also is part of the things that perhaps gives that. Imagine that child. He wouldn't have, except he does serious work on himself, he wouldn't have the right relationship with sex.
Yes.
If you see what I mean, because it was taken away from him. It was not a choice thing.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think goes unspoken and doesn't get dealt with. And we wonder why this grown man behaves like this when it comes to sex. So
digging deep, you now realize that that's why.
Yeah. It's a trigger. And a lot of people, get over it doing some, as they get older and wiser. But it could be something that if as a guy is wondering why they have such a warped relationship with sex, it could be part of the trigger. How did it start for you?
Yeah. And I think what you touched on is really important in terms of doing the work, because a lot of, and I think generally with men and trauma, I was listening again to what now? Sorry, I'm referencing. And I think Trevor had a friend or somebody that came on and they were talking about men naming their emotions and how men struggle. So for them, it might just be, I was angry but they never really name the emotion, like I was hurt. That wasn't okay that this person did this to me. But women were taught actually almost, we find it easier
to name
those things that happen to us. We can say, this is how I feel, because women are seen to be able to articulate their emotions, and we're almost trained to be able to do that.
Or it's acceptable
to be vulnerable,
to be emotional,
to say those things. But men really do struggle, and that's why they don't report. So to be honest, I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we would know the true extent of or statistics of some of the real trauma that have happened to men in terms of some of these things we talked about, domestic abuse, sexual assaults, rape, things like that, because it's really underreported.
Absolutely. And it's funny you say that about emotions, because anger is an emotion. But with a lot of cultures, for a man, anger is the only emotion that you are allowed to show.
Yeah.
It's okay to be angry. It's okay to shout at everybody. It's okay to break things. But what's triggering that anger? Let's deal with it. We can't.
Yeah, because if you strip it back,
there's something is being, or as you say, you're hurt, but the only way you can show it, because that's the only thing that is accepted. I suppose then the final thing I would say is, because you touched on that as well, is the role privilege has in sexual assaults and how that is can be taken advantage of even by women. Because you hear where women falsely accuse a man of doing something to them. And the only reason she can do it is because in that situation, she's the one with privilege. Let's go back at the Bible. Potiphar and Joseph. He landed there. Why? Because he was falsely accused and nobody listened. Because she's in a position of privilege. And I say that to say this. If you're ever in a position of privilege, take that responsibility to listen to what people are saying to you.
Yeah.
You get, because to try and be the voice for people, for all people around you, because the reason why people use their privilege in this kind of way is because other people in that position of privilege will not listen to the other person.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a term that I learned when I was training to be a social worker, which I use a lot when I think about the dynamics of societal privilege and power. Particularly for me at the time, I found interesting white male privilege, which almost seems to be the highest form of privilege that you can think of. And the term is privileged irresponsibility, where people who are in a position of power are almost blinded to what, should I say, common people experience.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't affect me, as long as it doesn't bother me, as long as it's not knocking on my doorstep, I keep a blind eye to it. I move it along. But one of the things that has created change in the world is when a person of privilege and power decides to intervene.
Absolutely.
It it's almost magical, because it's like people become interested.
That's it.
People become interested. I mean, thinking about apartheid, I don't really know a lot. I've not really done a lot of research on it, but just taking that just from the little I've known about it, some of the people that fought for the end of apartheid to happen when white people,
absolutely,
white people that actually said, this is not right, this is wrong.
Yep.
Any movement, even in America, a lot of the civil rights movements, it moved because some white people in power and privilege took it upon themselves to say, actually, we need to support this movement and end this. So just thinking about power and privilege and allyship, when you find yourself holding these positions of power, you need to be that voice of change.
Yeah.
Because the statistics are staggering of how much people have to put up with these behaviors, and there's no consequence for it.
Absolutely not. And it doesn't even have to be a position of power. Start from your home.
Yeah.
In your home, you should be that voice of reason, that your housemaid cannot come and should feel safe enough to come and tell you if somebody does something to her.
Yeah.
And not feel that Madam will automatically take the side of this her brother that came in,
And don't be a disgusting perv and sleep with your housemate because she does not have power. At least that day.
Well,
don't be a goat.
I say that goes without saying, but
you would think, but please, let's name it. It's true.
And if unfortunately you're a woman who unfortunately that's happened to you, that your spouse or your family member has done something like this, we don't cover it now.
And I think and again, going back to the difference in societal responses, I would say that is almost a norm from where we come from, where it's immediate, as a wife, you're almost led to want to cover that thing that your husband has done. Do you understand? Because that is, you're saying, this thing, God forbid, my husband, no. In fact, then you ask this poor house help who had no hand in this nonsense that was done to her, rather than sort of making her feel, I hear you, I see you, I'm sorry. At the very least.
Do you understand? And it's a different case if it's, there was it's consensual between the housemaid and the man. That's a slightly different issue.
Different.
But or the ones that even the person's parents, because you see that a child will be sexually assaulted and the parent is the one covering it.
That's that one is normal.
The parent is the one. So I said we have this rant just to say, regardless of your position, or regardless of your position in terms of I'm not a powerful person, in your home at least you have small voice.
That's from there.
Let everybody in your family know that with this lady around, this thing is not gonna fly. And if we're all with this man in this house, this thing is not gonna fly.
And also teaching your male children
and your female children, because nowadays everybody's moving mad.
Teaching everybody, don't take what is not your own. It starts from there. Take what is not your own. It's true.
Absolutely.
Because if you get away with these behaviors and there's no check in place, the crime becomes bigger.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Anyway.
Absolutely. We all need to be. And I think that's, on this note, I think that's a good point to sort of end today's episode.
Yeah.
Where
let's do better as a society.
Absolutely. We urge ourselves to please, you're not too little to have a stand. You're not too little to stand for what is right. You know what you're supposed to do. You know what is right. Let your voice, integrity. Let's try and all aim and strive to have that.
Yeah. And, again, we always like to say to look after yourself. If there's anything that we've said in today's episode that has triggered you in any way, please look after yourself. Seek help, if you haven't done that, because sometimes that's why we facilitate these conversations. You're not alone, we'll try and put out some, I don't even know, I think there might be some support services in Nigeria or in Africa in general, online or in, we'll try and see what information we can share. But I think more importantly is that you seek help, seek support, and, we're here. If you'd like to have a conversation, drop us a message on our DMs, reach out to us, and we'll be happy to support in any way that we can.
Absolutely.
Okay? You're not alone.
Absolutely not. Speak out. It wasn't your fault. Whatever the situation was, somebody did it to you.
Yeah.
It was not your fault.
Yeah, 100%. And until the next time, thank you very much for watching, sticking with us. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And until next time,
see you on the next one.